Hello there. Hello. In this video, I'm going to be listing off all of my favorite movies. This is not in order, and I'm not going to give like a full review of all of them. Maybe I'll give like a quick little thing why I love them for some of them, but we're going to get started. I have a favorite movie. That movie is 1952's Akira, directed by Akira Kurosawa. Uh, I'm gonna have to get into my thoughts in a later video. There's so much I want to say, but it's not for this video. But I do have to say it is one of the most emotionally impactful movies, and when I first saw it, I've heard amazing things about Akira Kurosawa, so I just assumed it was gonna be good, but I didn't think it was gonna impact me in such a way. Okay, all the other ones are out of order. Limelight, 1952. One of my favorite movie from Charlie Chaplin. I know he made a couple movies after Limelight, but in my mind, it's the last movie he made because it's like a finale to his entire career and a send off for for his career and his type of comedy like vaudeville stuff. A finale for that in general and passing the torch on to a different generation. That'll also be like a video someday in the future. Beauty and the Beast, 1991. That's a amazing Disney movie. One of the probably the best of the Disney Renaissance, or one of the best. The Phantom Carriage. I'm surprised more shows haven't done like parodies of this kind of thing. It's kind of like a Christmas carol about this guy who's a horrible person, but looking through his past actions, he becomes a better person. That may be oversimplifying it, but it's really good. And yeah, Diary of Anne Frank. I've actually read the actual one itself. Very good book, and the movie is very good. It's I just say it would it's fairly accurate to a lot of stuff. It's a pretty long book. It's a long movie, but yeah. Hard Day's Night. I love the Beatles. The music is great. It's very funny, very well written, and it's just one of those movies where I could watch it over and over and not get tired of it. And the Beatles themselves, I don't think there's no really emotional moments that they have to do. So that's why I think they're pretty good in the movie. There is one part. It's one small part that I can't really complain much about because it's not really that major. It's when Ringo laughs. It feels very unnatural, but that's just one little scene, and the rest of that scene is just amazing. I love the grandfather character. He's probably one of my favorites in it. Yeah. Woodstock, the director's cut. I have not seen the theatrical cut, but I love Woodstock, the documentary. Just amazing. It's one of the best like time capsules that era, and really good at showing you how it was. Kind of an essay on what it meant in that culture in that time. It's just a really fun movie overall, with all the performances and watching all the festival goers. My grandma and I watched it, and she had not been at Woodstock, and she said she finally got to go to that. Yeah. Bride of Frankenstein, my favorite of the Universal horror films. I have not seen all of them, but it's my favorite. I'll have to do like a ranking of them when I watch most of them. Oh God, from 1977. That's a really good movie. I just saw a movie called Jesus Camp, not too long ago, and about all this religious greed and forcing it on children. And I really appreciate how it's kind of oh God's kind of like mocking that aspect in a way. Like there's a televangelist in it, and he's just a jerk, and just yeah, it's a really good one. That's also gonna be a future video one day. M, uh, that's really good. Do not look up anything about it. As one of the best like moral quandaries in a movie that I've ever seen. So just go into it without knowing anything. It's by Fritz Lang, starring Peter Lorre. It's a good German film. Rashomon, also a really good film. Schindler's List. The Day the Earth Stood Still. I watched that with my grandma. That was amazing. Fantasia. I first saw that as a kid. I was like maybe 7 or 9 years old. I thought it was boring, but then I just rewatched it like a few months ago and I thought it was amazing. I really loved it. Roger and Mia. I think I like this a little bit more than Bowling for Columbine. I'm not really sure. Bowling for Columbine. Both of these are they're really good documentaries and they're very informative and they're very entertaining. Modern Times. Goodfellas. I saw that recently with my dad. He's very much a fan of Scorsese. Just a good movie. Very well made. Very just very well made. A good story, good acting. It's 3 hours or 2 hours, and I know it's like over 2 hours, and it doesn't feel that way at all. It's just super entertaining. Memento. The Breakfast Club, my favorite of John Hughes's movies. Shaun of the Dead, very funny one. Also having a lot of heart. My grandpa couldn't couldn't watch it without subtitles because he doesn't understand British people. It's just a fact. American movie, another great documentary. It's really one that it's a very uplifting one. Waking Sleeping Beauty, a fantastic documentary about the Disney Renaissance. It's fantastic. I wish it goes to like the studio's hard times in like the 70s until their high moment of the Disney Renaissance with Lion King 1994. And I wish it had gone I wish there was like a part 2 to that where it got like the fall of the Disney Renaissance like 90 like Lion King to Home on the Range or something like that. Yeah. The human comedy. A little cheesy sometimes, but I really liked it. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Very, very, very relevant today with like stuff about political corruption and standing up for the right causes no matter what. Very relevant. Sherlock Jr. I first saw it and I first saw it like a year ago and I thought, it's good. Amazing. But then I rewatched it. Like, what was I thinking? This was amazing. I've really grown to have an appreciation for Buster Keaton. I used to think that he was just like a diet chaplain, but I was wrong in that aspect. I was wrong, and I love him. I love Buster Keaton. Not as much as Chaplin, but I've learned to appreciate him. The Best Years of Our Lives. The Great Race, with one of my favorite actors, Jack Lemmon. You could tell he's having fun, and it's really great. Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit of Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. I saw that on my birthday in 2020. It was around the time lockdown was starting. It was my 14th birthday. I was gonna see 1917 with my dad in the theater, but couldn't because everything was on lockdown. But we had a lot of fun. We had lots. Had to, I watched this and it was a really good movie. It was very entertaining and just kept my mind off a lot of things. So fantastic. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Nanochka, a very good mashup of political drama or like political parody and romantic, like a romantic comedy. Very funny. I love Greta Garbo and she's fantastic. And I think the two leads have very good chemistry. Very well written. I think it's very funny. It's a very good time. Fight Club. Uh, Fantastic. Lion King. Second to Beauty and the Beast in terms of best animated Disney movies. It's a mad, 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 mad world. This also is a pretty long one, but it's very funny and just fantastic. I love the Buster Keaton cameo and the Three Stooges one. Some Like It Hot, the first of Billy Wilder's movies I've seen, and the first Jack Lemmon movie I ever saw, which those two are both amazing. The first movie I saw of Marilyn Monroe, Black Narcissus. If you're gonna watch that, warning, there's some minor racism. There's some brown face, and there's some racist stuff in it. But there's not, it's there, but there's not so much that it ruins it. That's what I would still recommend it. Rome and Open City for the first like 15 to 20 minutes. I was bored. I was so bored that I considered like turning it off, but I didn't, and I'm glad I did, and I've learned to appreciate it more, and I love it. Planet of the Apes, Duck Soup, great political satire. For my introduction to the Marx Brothers, love them. Casablanca, I can't really add anything to that. It's a masterpiece. What else can I say? It's a Wonderful Life. I saw that on Christmas 2020. And when you're coming out of a year like 2020, I really needed that. Just uh it's a classic. I can't really add anything to it, but it really helped me on that day on Christmas 2020. Yeah, it was just very good. Really good. Shawshank Redemption, fantastic. The Shining. My personal favorite Stanley Kubrick movie is when he did the moon landing. Yeah. This is also really good too. Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. Funny. My grandma refuses to watch it because of O.J. Simpson. Strangers on the Train. My introduction to Alfred Hitchcock. It's amazing. One of my favorites, and I love Alfred Hitchcock. Spirited Away. My favorite. My introduction to Studio Ghibli or Ghibli. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but it's also really good. I've heard this is like one of the best ways to introduce yourself to that studio, and I'm glad I got to watch it. It was really good. To Be or Not to Be, it's a fantastic comedy directed by Ernst Lubitsch, who did Nanachka. Those two are great movies. I love those. Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. My introduction to Peter Sellers, and I love Peter Sellers. Really good movie. The Great Dictator. My second favorite Chaplin movie. It used to be my favorite until I saw Limelight. Our Hospitality. My possibly one of my favorite Keaton movie. It's really good. Sunset Boulevard. I've heard they're making a musical of that. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but who knows? I'll have to see it. Maybe it will be good. Steamboat Bill Jr. Another one I saw it the first time about a year ago. I thought it was good. It wasn't special, but then I rewatched it and I was like, "This is amazing." I was wrong again. The General. I think this is amazing. It's probably it's number 3 in my Buster Keaton ranking. I haven't seen all of them. I've seen more of his shorts than Chaplin, and I love a lot of his shorts as well as his movies. City Lights, Blackfish, fantastic documentary. Sing in the Rain. I saw that at the State Theater, and I was glad to be back, and that was a good movie to see. And it's very colorful, great songs, fantastic, really funny. I love its parody of like of when sound came and stars having to get used to that. The Magic Christian, it's very weird. I can see why people really dislike it, but I just love it. I think it's so funny, and it has an odd pairing of Ringo Starr and Peter Sellers, and it's just a fantastic satire of the rich and wealthy. And finally, 1776. This maybe will get a video. I'm not incredibly sure about that. What I like about it is it's kind of like demythifying. I'm not sure if that's a word. The founding fathers, to show that they were not perfect. They had flaws. They had to do a lot of things that were horrible. Some of them were kind of whiny and prima donna ish. They're showing that they were not fantastic men, and I love that. I find that so interesting. And it's plus just a great musical, great performances, really entertaining. But I really like the aspect of. Uh, I saw this cynical historian's video about it, and he said he got mostly things right. I'll link his video to it. It's a really good video, and he's just a great YouTuber and all. But anyway, I like how it just shows the founding fathers in a somewhat more realistic light, and showing the real, or real by Hollywood standards, real version of the founding fathers, how complex they were. Yeah, those were my favorite movies. It's gonna continue to grow. Maybe some won't be there anymore. I'll make another one like this in the future. But if you disagree with any of them, just put in the comments or email me. I'm not gonna give you my email, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye. Goodbye.